Welcome back, troglodytes, to the Trogly's Guitar Show. If you don't learn anything from this episode besides leave neck shaving to professionals, I'll be okay with that. Today we have a 2013 Gibson Les Paul Traditional Pro 2 that has had an interesting fate. I think you can agree this is an absolutely beautiful guitar, but the original owner for this one just thought the neck was too fat for his tastes. So instead of selling the guitar and getting another one, which is usually the better option, he decided to do it Jimmy Page style and shave his neck. Home neck shave jobs 9 times out of 10 go wrong and they sand through to the truss rod. This one, despite the guy saying he took a lot of time to make sure it was evenly sanded, which he did, he still got to the truss rod right there. So that means I'm pretty sure that you can no longer use your truss rod. Because if you take a look at this illustration of how a truss rod works, if you try to move it, depending on which way you're going, it will just further start to crack the neck. So that might not be a good thing to do. So you're kind of just stuck with this guitar the way it sits now. Now thankfully, the neck is perfectly straight yet. You have the appropriate amount of relief in the neck, so it is a great player as is. Without the neck shaving job, this would be an easy $1,500 to $1,800 guitar with a top like this, but now you're going to be able to score it for much less. The Trad Pro 2 actually came in 50s and 60s neck profile configurations, but even the 60s neck wouldn't be as thin as this one. You've got a 0.78 inch at the first fret, and then it's a 0.9 at the 12th fret. So it is very slim, but it's still a little bit wider feeling. So when I play this thing, it feels fairly regular, but I just don't feel the back of the neck ever because it's almost not even there. But the 2013 Traditional Pro 2 is actually a really cool guitar spec-wise too. You've got a beautiful 2-piece flame maple top on this one, mahogany back, you've even got some dancing on that, and your traditional mahogany neck with a rosewood fretboard. But what other fun things do we have here? Being a traditional and not a standard, that means for this run it is a solid body guitar, so it's traditional in that aspect. But you have a 57 Classic in the neck and a Super 57 in the bridge, and those are great sounding PAF styled pickups. But to further add an infinite supply of tones, Gibson has 3 push-push pots. You push these and they come up. Now it's only on these 3, it's not this one. But what do these do? The 2 on your volume controls, they're coil splitters. So if you don't know what that means, is when these are not activated, you've got humbuckers with the 57s, but when you have these on, it takes one of the coils out of the signal and kind of gives you a Fender-esque single coil sound. But what does this one do? Is it in and out of phase? No. You notice how there's a 9-volt battery compartment back here? That is to operate this one. This is a 10 decibel boost switch. Now, that'll do exactly what it says. It kind of just overdrives your sound a little bit. It's not always a fantastic sound, but sometimes you need a little bit of boost for the solo. But what I found that this actually is doing on this guitar is it's almost acting like a piezo pickup. Piezos are usually built into your bridge and they're designed to give you an acoustic sound. Now that's not exactly what this is doing, but I say it sounds like that because if you have the coil split option on and the boost, you get very convincing acoustic sounds out of this guitar. Not like acoustic, oh, I'm playing the guitar acoustically. I'm talking amplified acoustic guitars. They have that very distinct tone to them. So this Les Paul will do Les Paul tones, it'll do Fender tones, and it'll do acoustic tones. There's just so many options on this guitar. But is that a good thing? I'm here to argue that no, it's not. It's kind of like with the brand new 2019 models, they further added to the confusion by letting you choose between a true coil split and a coil tap with this other little switch that I guess you have to go inside the guitar to get. But I feel Gibson focuses too much on trying to please everybody. Now don't get me wrong, I think these options are cool, but as a guitar demoer, I hate it. Because I find myself trying to demo all the sounds, and it really gets in the way of me just, playing and really showing you the tone of the guitar. So if the playing demo's not so good on this one, I'm sorry. I was just trying to demo all these different tones. A good analogy is if you go to your significant other and you say, hey, do you want to go to the movies, to dinner, or play mini golf? Usually somebody could give you an answer of what they want. But if you say, do you want to go to the movies, go to dinner, play mini golf, go to France, go to Japan, go to the Netherlands, go to Michigan, go to Nebraska, you get the idea. You just give them so many options, they're going to be overwhelmed. But it does make it an awesome studio guitar that can do just about anything. Furthermore, what is interesting about this year of a traditional Pro is it has a gloss finished top with a satin finished back and neck. I think that's a really cool feature. It might have saved them a little bit of money producing them, but I love the feeling of a satin neck. It's a little bit less sticky, and I just think it plays easier up and down the neck. The last feature to go over with these that is stock are locking Grover tuners. Can't ask for anything better on these things. So overall, not every neck will be shaved like this one, but a traditional Pro from the 2013 lineup, they really are nice guitars. You might find they give you too many tonal opportunities, but you don't have to use any of this stuff. You could just stick with your humbuckers and it'll be just as good as any other guitar. So checking one of these things out, they are still a great deal on the used market, around $1,500. Now that we know a little bit more about this guitar, let's go ahead and hear how it sounds. that we know how this guitar sounds, let's go ahead and review its condition. Alright, the condition of this guitar. You've got some scratches and some wear along the edges here from the whole neck shaving process. Your truss rod cover has been replaced, so it's just blank. It would have originally said traditional. You still have your original nut, and I just oiled and cleaned the frets and the fretboard. The neck has the proper amount of relief in it, just a little bit, and it is straight. The face of the guitar is also in good shape. You've got beautiful flame top on this one. You've just kind of got some picking scratches and swirls, just average light wear and tear on this one. I mean, if it wasn't for the neck shaving process, this thing would actually be pretty darn clean. You've just got some light play wear here. Some modifications to go over. This would have originally had uncovered zebra pickups. It is the original pickups still under here, but somebody just put nickel covers over them. They're not even soldered on there, but they don't just come off or anything. They're on there pretty tight, but they wanted to give this a 1960s vibe. Speaking of that, they did swap out the knobs for a more vintage burst looking knob. And this one is missing its topper, but I thought, you know, that's kind of okay because that's the one that doesn't push. So it's okay not to have one there. It lets you know which ones do what. Something else to mention, the original owner said he replaced the bridge and tailpiece with the same era correct pieces, but he sent them out to be aged slightly. So you have that. If I wouldn't have told you, you just would have thought they were original anyways, because they really are the exact same thing that would come on this model. Back of the neck, serial number 1169 3041 6 2013 model. Locking Grover tuners, and now let's take a look at this neck. You can see there's some lines right here. I'm guessing that's where he taped the neck off while he was doing this process, because those aren't like breaks, cracks, or repairs. You can definitely feel those lines, but it's kind of like a volute. You don't actually feel them while you're playing. The neck thinning job, I mean, if it wasn't for going through to the truss rod a little bit right here, I would actually say it was a very nice job. It's very even feeling. It's not wonky or anything. I mean, this is definitely still a playable guitar, but you do need to know that in the future, if you need to adjust this neck, you're not necessarily going to be able to. So if it ever came down to that, you'd need a re-neck job, and those are not cheap. They're about $1,000. However, just to justify the price I'm asking for this, say the neck became unusable. You could sell the husk of this guitar for about $350 because some luthier will pick this up, beautiful body, they'll just slap a new neck on it and make big money that way. The pickups, they're worth about $200. I would say all the rest of the hardware and knobs and electronics, you've got another $100 or so right there. So that is $650. You've got approximately $50 in the Locking Grover tuners. So now you're at $700. Then the case, that puts you at about $850. So worst case scenario, down the road, you might have to part it out or sell it for a cheap price, but you're really only risking about $100 or so. I would not have bought this guitar and sold it if I thought it was ever going to give you problems right away. The original owner said he did this over 4 years ago and has had no issues with it. To further give you confidence, I accidentally had the neck strung up 3 steps higher than it should have been, and it was sitting there for like a month and the neck didn't like bow or anything. So I really am confident in this neck. I don't think you're ever going to have any real issues with it, but you know, I want to play on the side of caution here so you do know of any type of issue that might arise. Furthermore, the neck was refinished at the same time, so this feels exactly like the stock factory finish. So it's not apparently evident that somebody hacked this neck up. Back of the guitar here, you don't have any major buckle rash, but you do have some worming marks. But beautiful dancing to the mahogany as well. But overall, I mean, again, this guitar, it's not in too bad of shape if it wasn't for the shaving of the neck. Take a look at the sides here real quick. everything's looking all right. So, I mean, if you need a solid body, awesome guitar that can play just about any tone you could need, and you love super thin necks, definitely check this thing out. Now we'll take a look under Blacklight. You don't have too much glowing on the face of the guitar. This is kind of one of those strange opportunities where the refinished area of this guitar is actually going to glow more simply because it was a different finish that was used. So there you can see where the new finish was put on this neck very clearly. And it lines up perfectly where those other lines are, where they were masking off the neck. So there you go, plain as day right there, but everything else is glowing the way I would expect to see. This guitar does have a Gibson USA case. The original owner said that he bought this case aftermarket for it, so I don't think it's the original case to it, but I mean, this is a very nice case. It's in really clean shape. The combo lock hasn't even been set, and all latches are present and functioning. Inside the case, you have some original paperwork. None of it's filled out, though. But the interior is a nice magenta pink color. I mean, this case really is pretty darn clean. You've got some scratches on the outside toe legs, but besides that, I mean, it's a very nice case. The fit is literally perfect. It doesn't move at all. If you think you might be interested in being the next owner of this shaved neck Les Paul Traditional Pro 2 with all of the different sounds and a nice top and a nice back, check out that link in the description that will take you to my Reverb for sale ad. Thank you, Troglodytes, for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.